This week, we look at the upper-middle-class town of East Lyme, Connecticut, where a family squabble turns into a dead body in a car. Welcome to Small Town Murder. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Small Town Murder.
Yay!
Jimmy. Yay.
Yay.
I'm telling you,
For
yay.
sure.
Yeah. Not as enthusiastic, but I'm yay. Listen, dude, yay.
You're saying it with a point.
I'm pointing at you. Yay, goddammit. Welcome back. Thank you guys so much for listening. My name is James Pietragallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I am Jimmie Whisman.
We can't thank you enough for being here. We're excited, as always, to be here with murder, which is what you want. We found
Shut
more
up and
murder.
give me murder.
Shut up and give me murder. Yes, indeed. We're very, very excited. We have to thank everyone this week so much for your iTunes reviews. It's been an avalanche of them this week, and it's helped us out so much. That's tremendous. We can't put it into words how much that helps business-wise. It drives you up the charts. It makes you more attractive to this one. That. It's good stuff. Basically, you're getting our hair all nice and putting a pretty dress on us, and we really, really appreciate it.
Because I don't have any.
Yeah, that's true. You're getting my hair all nice and putting a pretty dress on Jimmy and making us look presentable.
Shining up my bald spot.
There you go. So. Thank you guys so much for that. Really, if you haven't done it yet, please, we ask you, it helps us so much. Please get on iTunes. I know it takes 30 seconds. You have to sign in and all that stuff, but this takes so much longer than that. Trust me, this is brutal. I have not slept in days. I hope you can't hear it in my voice, but it's been a long week.
I think you sound great.
I'm trying. Yeah, it's a little gravelly. It's okay. I think that works for me.
Yeah,
I think.
It's charming.
I don't know about that. We'll see. But if you haven't got on there, please get on there. Give us 5 stars. Tell us anything you want. Anything. Tell us your favorite color. We don't care. We'll be like, great, terrific, perfect. The 5 stars are what really, really matters to us. If that is not enough for you, if you are a person that says, I need to do more. I feel it in my soul.
Sometimes I do.
In my soul.
Sometimes
if you feel it in your soul, you can get on patreon.com.
You can.
/crimeinsports, and you can make a donation there. You can do that. You can get on PayPal if you want to make a one-time donation. Our address there is crimeinsports@gmail.com. Since we've mentioned Crime and Sports, you should be listening to Crime and Sports. Go listen to Crime and Sports when you're done with this podcast. I know you're thinking, I don't like sports. Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Do you like towns? No, you're interested in murder. Right. That's the same thing. The town, the sport is as much of the part of it as the town is here. Right. It's just a setting, a backdrop. You have to show someone's rise to grace to show them fall from grace.
And everybody wants to see that.
As we always see. So you can do that. Also, listen to P.S. I Hate This Movie with me and my girlfriend Sarah talking about bad romantic comedies and making fun of them unmercifully like we do with killers and everything else here. Yes. Well, also, too, you can check me out at Stand Up Live in Phoenix, July 21st through 23rd with Paul Verzi, who is a hilarious guy, New York guy, works with Bill Burr all over the place, really funny and a good friend of mine. So that is a show you definitely want to come out to, 100% good time all around. Also, listen to the Verzi Effect, it's podcast. It's very good shit. And if you wanted to come see us, you can get a hold of me and I will put you on the list. So you can do that. You can crimeinsports@gmail.com. You can do that, or you can do... Well, I won't give you my email address because you'll have to spell my last name. So just do crimeinsports@gmail.com and I'll keep track and I'll put you on the list if you want that. Do have to say the disclaimer as usual. We have to do it every time. It's a bummer, but we have to. This is a comedy podcast. It's definitely a comedy podcast. We're stand-up comics. We're not journalists or serious people. Now, mind you, trust me, I do everything I can that's humanly possible on this earth to make sure all the facts are real. The research is done, as well as we can do it. But we're going to make jokes. Of course. It's going to be at the expense of a small town. Who cares? We're all from a small town.
That's how I process tragedy.
That's it. That's exactly it. If I listen, I think it's episode 7, listen to my story about my great-grandmother's funeral, and you'll understand where we're coming from here. Believe it's that one. But otherwise, it's a comedy podcast. So we're going to make jokes. We're going to make fun of a killer because screw them. We're going to make fun of a bumbling police force. Whatever it is, we never, ever, ever intend to make jokes at the expense of the victim or the victim's families. As we've come to say, we are assholes, but we're not scumbags. We're not. So we're good guys. We're here. We're trying this. Hopefully you guys are on board. Anybody that's left, thank you for being here. If you think that true crime and comedy never belong together, then thank you. We appreciate you giving us a shot, and don't let the door hit you on the way out. We'll call it a failed blind date and move on.
Exactly.
So here we go. Without further ado, let's get into this, Jimmy. What do you say? Let's do it. Let's head somewhere different. Let's head to East Lyme, Connecticut. East Lyme, Connecticut. Now, last week we were in Tennessee.
Yeah.
We were in the Appalachians.
Yeah.
We were landlocked
With
pretty
an
much.
ex-soldier.
Oh yeah, ex-soldier, landlocked. This time we're going in the Northeast. It's East Lyme, and in terms of Connecticut, it's in the southeastern part of the state.
Okay.
It's on the southern shore there on the water. Very nice. It's in New London County.
Oh.
You got to be scared of a town called East Lyme right away because that's the disease, and it's spelled the same way too. So
and it's in that area of the country a lot because they have deer flies that are gigantic and they will eat you alive. And deer ticks,
and they give you Lyme disease.
Yeah,
I know lots. Both my parents have had Lyme disease.
Deer flies do it too.
There you go. You get them. I didn't know that. Didn't know about the flies, but we're in the southeastern part of the states in New London County. Zip code 06333. Okay. 06333. You know they say that on every radio ad and TV.
06333.
Yeah, absolutely. Area code 860. In case anybody's calling from there. Now you know. It's a big town in terms of land mass. It's 42 square miles.
Big one.
So it's a big town for a small town. Not a lot of people
sprawling,
there.
Tiny town.
Sprawling. 34 of the square miles are land, and the rest is water, obviously, because it's on the ocean, and we know how the they got to
include some of it.
Yeah, it counts as a certain amount out to shore there. During the summer months, the population doubles.
Wow.
For beach season. So yeah, people come. It gets much more congested at that point. All the traffic. It's got to be annoying as shit. Tourists, screaming kids.
The locals hate them.
Oh, you know they hate them. Like, here they are, these assholes again. God damn, I hate summer.
But they're paying for that new water line we're putting in.
That's the thing. Yeah, that's the thing. I'm sure a lot of your businesses, operate around there. The oldest house in Connecticut is here, and it's still in its original state. Yeah. It was built in 1660.
It's the oldest one in the entire state of Connecticut.
The entire state of Connecticut.
That's
in this
fascinating.
town. It's in the southwestern part of East Lyme. It's the Thomas Lee House, like I said, 1660. So that's amazing. In the late 1700s, East Lyme, which it was then, East Lyme had taverns, tons of taverns. The booze was drawing people.
Oh.
Basically, it was like a traveler place. If you're stopping from here to here, you stop in here and booze it up in the 1700s. Stop at one of these taverns. Yeah, they didn't go to the beaches. Beaches didn't seem like a real recreational thing for people back then.
No?
No, it seemed like the 1800s people started going to the beaches.
Well, the bikini wasn't invented yet.
Maybe that's what it is. Yeah, maybe that's what it is. I don't know if tanning wasn't really considered a thing to do.
Not yet.
I don't know what it is. But yeah, so there's that.
I think that your pale complexion was celebrated back then. You know,
yeah, maybe
the whiter you are, the cooler you are in society.
Yeah, like in Asia now. Yeah, that's true too.
The more pale you are, the more popular you are.
In Vietnam, you see them all covering themselves. They're not covering themselves up for disease. They're covering themselves up from the sun.
To keep from getting...
Literally, they don't want any of their skin showing because it's like a class thing. It's super weird. Super
so
fucking
creepy.
weird.
They also got that thing there that they're trying to brown themselves up to be to look like Mexican gangbangers. Have you seen that?
I have not seen that.
It's
That's
bananas.
interesting.
It's a very bizarre cult. There's a new culture of like lokes in I don't know if it's Japan or Vietnam or whatever. It's some fucking Asian country where they...
That was great. Jimmy just said, I don't know, one of them slanty countries over there. What the hell do I know? I don't know nothing.
One of those guys with
very broad brush you just painted with there.
Lots of tweezer thingies users.
You just included about, I don't know, little over 1.5 billion people and lumped them right in together, and we're like, one of those fucking people. I don't know. That was
that's
I love
hilarious.
it. Yeah, you gotta love our.
They want to be low.
Like we've always said, we request that you find our ignorance charming. That's what we've asked of everyone. That's what we do here.
Mine is actually stupidity. I don't know if that's
we'll go with charm though. Town is incorporated in 1839. It's been a town ever since then in Connecticut.
All right.
Whatever. People here. Population 19,343 people.
Oh.
So a bigger small town, but for the area, it's not too populated.
Still not a lot of people for 43 square miles.
No, you figure there's a bunch of people by the beach, and then it's pretty spread out, and that's exactly pretty much how it works here. Skew's a little bit older. Median age is about 8 years above the average of 37, which is the normal. Stats are all pretty average. A few more married people than non-married than usual, but nothing crazy.
Yeah.
Racially breaks down 81% white. So pretty white town, pretty much what you'd expect in Connecticut. I've been to Connecticut a lot. There's, 4% black. There's a few black people, but nothing crazy. It's Connecticut. Asian, right on the nose. 5% Asian, so good for
average.
You guys. Yeah, you've allowed some Asians into your town, and unlike Jimmy. If Jimmy was there, obviously he wouldn't let any in, knowing him. Be sitting there like, I don't know.
They were lokes.
Which one of you guys browning yourself up for? Yeah, no good. 7% Hispanic, so it's a northeast town, and it's Connecticut, so whatever. Religious-wise, religion, 45% religious, so a little below the average, nothing crazy. 32% Catholic, which is
expect that.
If we're in Alabama, it's going to be 32% Baptist. Here we're going to be Catholics, the Baptists of the North.
That's very clever. I like
that's their new marketing slogan. The Baptists of the North. Come see us. 0.8% Jewish, so almost 1% Jewish, almost 0.1% Muslim. So there's there's a family hanging out, getting on there. Voting wise, this is about 58% Democrat, 40% Republican, which is exactly on pace with the rest of Connecticut. That's just how they roll there. Average household income is up here. This is I don't want to say it's affluent, but it's definitely upper middle class. There are people that aren't affluent, and there's a reason. I'm going to explain something here because I've had a few people go like, "Hey, why do you do the stats? Why do you do the stats? Like, I don't get it. What's the deal?" And I do the stats because you got to set the scene of the town. And if I set the scene and I just go, it's kind of a poor town, or it's kind of an affluent town, and then we're going to get a bunch of people tweeting going, well, I live there, and it's not poor. Right. There's a neighborhood here that's nice, and it's like, I know, that's why I give stats.
Right.
So it's like, oh, I know that. I said 52% of people make under this, so that's that. And there's no arguing that. That's why I do it, honestly, because it's too...
There's 48% that got money, 52...
It's Twitter guard.
Right.
I don't want to hear you say that I... It is. I don't want to say that I painted with a broad brush like you with the Asians. I don't want to do it. I want people to fucking know that I'm doing this, I'm saying this because it's statistically true. That's basically what it is. I'm showing my math is all it is here. When I figure out this is what the kind of town this is, this is how. The average household income there Twitter guard. That's what it is.
I like it.
It's like headgear in boxing. Average household income here is $81,711. So that is almost $30,000 above the national average.
That's a lot of dough.
That's what I mean. And it's expensive. Connecticut's high taxes, high everything. But one thing I will say about Connecticut, you can say anything you want about taxes. But when you drive on I-84, because I'm from New York, and I know we've gone Danbury a million times. When you drive on I-84 and it connects from New York to Connecticut, and you're driving in New York, it's the second you hit Connecticut, I mean the instant.
Sailing, huh?
The instant it says, signed, welcome to Connecticut, you could play a basketball game on that road. It's beautiful, smooth blacktop.
And it snows like hell there, too.
And that's the other thing, too.
Somehow figure it out.
I've gone there when it's snowing, and the New York side's all shitty. The Connecticut side, clear and dry. I'm not even kidding. They clear that
and
shit,
dry.
salt it. It's amazing. They work on their shit.
They got a truck with a blow dryer on it, and they're
Say
just
what you want,
down the road.
But it's a nice place, goddammit.
They figure out how to live comfortably in that shit weather.
It's true. It's absolutely true.
They take your money and put it to use. That's
what it is. The schools are good and that sort of thing. So, I mean, you could say whether you like taxes or you don't like taxes, it doesn't really matter. But, if you make a decent amount of money, you can have a decent life there. If you make a shit amount of money, you're not going to have a great life there. But your kid can go to a nice school. So you got that,
And you won't be replacing your struts every 6 months.
That's another thing here. Everything under the $50,000 income range is all under the average usually.
Like
the usual average. Yeah, it's under that. Everything over the $50,000 a year range is up in terms of average. So people make money here. It's a nice, affluent town. They said jobs. They have sport fishing and marinas. That's a big, for the whole the summer tourism, the restaurants, all that. It's a beach town. Seafood restaurants, all that sort of thing.
There's tons of those.
Yeah, camping, swimming. They have Rocky Neck State Park, so it's a lot of picnics, and it's people go and they hang out basically. And even when you look at the jobs, it's more business and finance and that sort of thing than usual.
All right.
Sales is up. Same around. Sales is about normal, that sort of thing. But we're half of the usual production, transportation, material moving, like less blue collar jobs than normal in this sort of area. It's that sort of thing here. And there's a reason for that because the cost of living is high. We do par being 100. Cost of living here, 132. 132, very high, and that's mainly because the highest factor of all is housing at 162, with 100 being average.
It's old colonial houses, and they're built so well.
And they're just expensive, too. Like I said, it's just one of those things. Property's expensive, too.
When you have, natural disasters and stuff, you have to build the house nicely, and you have to build them well. And when they're built like that, they're expensive.
To stand up to weather, and a lot of them are brick, and they're good foundations. They have basements, all of them, too, so you look at it that way. But the median home cost is $301,000 there.
Whoa.
So that's median. That's high. Less than 13% of the homes are valued at under $200,000.
Less than 13%.
It's like 12.5% are valued at under $200,000.
And that's a shithole, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's there it's not great. No. 60% of the houses are between $200,000 and $400,000. So that's like your average house is, like we said, $300,000 bucks. Right. Now, if we've convinced you that you need to move to East Lyme, you have to be there. You want to hang out by the beach.
I love this part.
We have the East Lyme Real Estate Report right here, folks. 2-bedroom apartment on the average there is about $1,127.
Holy shit.
Which is $100 higher than the national average. I found a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home, 1,600 square feet. Very nice little house. Nice lawn.
Yeah.
Very nice. Not even little, just very nice house. $284,999 there. And I found a 4-bedroom, 3-bath house. This is a big one. Nice lawn going up to it. 3,140 square feet. $569,900, so $570 for that one.
For a 3,000 square foot house, you're looking at $500,000.
More than that, yeah. That's steep. That is very steep. Like here, you're looking at $350 for that probably in Phoenix, Arizona. So that's a lot. Of course, Phoenix, Arizona. It's also 114 degrees outside right now. So,
and your house will be made of chicken wire and a little bit of concrete on outside.
Yeah,
of it.
particle board that you could kick your way through.
Right.
You want to be a burglar in Arizona? Super easy. Just bring your boots. Yeah. You can just kick your way through a wall, walk right in.
Steel toes, do it.
You absolutely could. No
problem. Buy a pair of steel toes and you'll get all the big screen TVs you want.
That's it, man. Everything you need. Things to do there, just like we would think. Beach, drinking, camping. Yep. That's it, pretty much. Fishing, dicking off.
Dicking off.
That's it.
That's a great name that's a great slogan for this town.
Dicking off.
East Lyme. Come on down and dick off.
Dick off in East Lyme. Come see the Catholics.
I want
Baptists
that shirt.
of the North.
I want that.
They have many slogans this town.
God, that's so good.
Many
twice
slogans.
The wine and twice the guilt. Come on down.
Come on down, everybody. You can do it. It's amazing.
Catholics of the North.
The Baptists of the North.
What
Baptists
am I doing?
Of the North. You
I'm ruining your own fucking slogan. Sorry.
That's all right. That's all right. It's no problem. It's not mine. It's the town of it's the Catholic churches. I didn't make it up. What do I know? I'm not a part of the I'm not a part of the church hierarchy. I don't know anything about this. Now, crime here, what we're interested in always, the crime rate. Property crime is slightly lower than average, but in the range of normal, basically. And violent crime, slightly higher than average, but still in the range of average. Okay. So we're not talking about anything aberrant. This is kind of your typical kind of upper middle class American town, would be the best way to put it. And let's find out some things that happen in a typical American town, shall we? Before we do that, real quick, I want to clarify something because we had a lot of people asking us this, a lot of death penalty talk this week.
Yeah, that was weird.
Look, here's our deal, okay? And Jimmy, I don't know, you might be different than me, but I think we were on about the same page with this.
I'll let you speak for me because I know that we agree.
Okay, neither of us like the death penalty.
Hate it.
Neither of us like it. We don't think that the government should be killing people because they fuck up a lot.
Right.
That's why we don't think it's right.
That's the problem.
That's the problem. We never said, oh, let's hope the state kills this guy, although we did because we just wanted someone to kill him. But
I don't care if it's an inmate.
That's the thing. I think my suggestion was I would rather the victim's father be able to drag him from a rope on his car. So that's much harsher than the death penalty, but that's how I feel like we should treat this person by the victim's
case,
family.
Too, by the way.
And I'm sorry, but if you go to a 15-year-old girl's house at 5:30 in the morning, gang rape her, and then stab her 17 times, 14 of them being torturous knife wounds, and making this poor girl be in excruciating pain, and then finally stabbing the shit out of her and killing her, I don't give a fuck what happens to you. That's my stance on it.
And I'm of that same opinion. And then when you have done that to her mother before that,
don't care about you anymore.
It's all in God's hands at that point. If there's one, I couldn't give a fuck.
And I'm not a person that's I get that there's cases. Exonerations are the reason why I don't think we should do the death penalty. But when you have evidence, witnesses, and 2 people saying they did it, they probably fucking did it. I'm going to go ahead and say they did it at that point. There's physical evidence. There's witnesses. It's too much. I don't care what happens then. No. And the state, not ideal. I'd rather the father drag this guy behind a truck, but that's not going to happen here in an organized society.
Unfortunately, they passed laws that's not allowed.
We can't do that. So
you can't
instead,
eye for an eye.
Anyway, but that's kind of a little clarification because people are kind of like, are you into it? Are you not? And we're like, not really, no, but we just want to kill. We want some people to be dead, though. Right. So it's one of those. We got to wait. It's real. It's a struggle for us, really.
When there's too much conflicting evidence, and I'm like, no, you can't do that. Just in case.
Yeah, I don't.
Just on principle, just in case.
Let's err on the side of not killing the wrong people, please. Yeah, but that guy last week, he had a fucking comment.
Fuck that guy.
Screw that guy.
And it bothers me that he's still breathing.
Still breathing. So's his buddy
disgusting.
there. Anyway, let's get into this town. We're in East Lyme here. Let's talk about a guy named Buzz. Okay, a fella named Buzz.
All right.
Anson Buzz Clinton. That's his middle.
What? How'd he get Buzz?
They call him Buzz. Yeah. I don't know. Well, his middle name is B, the initial B. It's not Buzz, but they probably just call him Buzz. Yeah. I have no Anson. That's a shit name for a kid.
Yeah, I'd go by Buzz too.
I'd go by Buzz too. He's grown up in the 70s and 80s. You don't want to be Anson.
No.
The hell kind of name is that for a kid?
And Buzz Aldrin had just been on the moon a few years earlier.
Yeah, that's kind of a cool, tough name. I don't know, something like that. This guy here is... he's a certified nursing assistant, is what he works at sometimes. Also an exotic dancer on the side. Yeah. He does odd jobs here and there, and he's recently started stripping in the evening here.
I admire any dude that does that shit.
It's ballsy, I'll say that.
Because I can't do it.
No, I can't dance, so I'm not shaking anything.
I can vaguely dance. It's not interpreted any way sexy, but I can gyrate around a bit. Well, but I don't want my shirt off. Like that's not my favorite thing.
This guy could apparently shake it. Old Buzz Clinton here. Yeah. Buzz Clinton's 28 years old in 1994, and on March 10th, 1994, he is found shot to death.
Oh my God!
Shot 6 times in his car off a road off the I-95.
Holy shit!
He's found lit up like a Christmas tree in his car on the side of the road. So right away,
start asking all the mothers in town.
Where's this guy? Right. Well, right away they kind of know of this guy. He's a local guy, and he's kind of a fuck up. He's a drug. He gets into drugs here and there and that sort of thing. So immediately the police suspect this is like a drug deal gone bad, or this is some scumbag he's gotten in bed with, lured him out here and shot him and left him there. That sort of thing. That's just what they expect. What ended up happening is that day, on March 10th, 1994, he leaves his home, Buzz, in East Lyme. He makes plans to meet a potential buyer of his tow truck. He's apparently got a tow truck. And that's why he leaves his house. And police, after some investigation, figure out that the buyer of the tow truck that wanted to see the tow truck is probably the guy who actually killed him and probably ambushed him.
So they're trying
they're trying to figure out why. What's the motivation here? He was like 5 times in the head. I'm sorry, and once in the chest. All close range. Also very close range. And then he was run over by a vehicle.
Jesus!
And then he's back in his car. So there's a lot of...
Somebody picked him up after he was dead and put him back in there?
Yeah, and put him back in the car. This is on the Rocky Neck connector off the I-95 in East Lyme. Okay, so let's find out about him a little bit, about a dead Buzz Anson, because we start out with a dead male stripper on the side of the road, which I think is intriguing, in the very least.
It's pretty fascinating.
Because I'm thinking jealous husband, something like that. Is this guy shaking his ass a little too hard and taking a little bit of someone's 401k, a little bit too much, and they were like, hey, like an angry wife would go to a stripper and be like, hey, fuck you, that's my mortgage payment. You're stuffing in your bra. That's the thing here. You're stuffing that down by your dick there. Get it out.
That's my kid's fucking braces, you jerk.
You are sopping your ball sweat up with my kid's brace money, and I don't appreciate it. So you figure something like that.
That's where ID would have taken the commercial break right after the dead stripper in a truck.
Yeah, absolutely. They would have taken that. We did too. We took our own kind of commercial break, which is what we do here after a dead man's on the side of the road. And it doesn't make him any less of a person that he was an exotic dancer, all that. It just makes it a little funnier that it's a guy exotic dancer because... guy exotic dancers and women are judged much differently. I judge a male exotic dancer way harsher than a woman. I get it. I mean, whatever. But a male guy, it's just like, I get what you're doing, but it's kind of funny, like from guy to guy. It's like that's pretty funny, dude. It's one of those things. It's just a weird thing.
I hope he was still wearing the fireman outfit. Like, I don't want him to.
Still wearing tearaway pants.
The medical Velcroed pants.
The medical team, the examiners, will get there and they're like, "Oh, take his pants off," and they just one shot rip them off. Like, that was easy.
Cut those off. I don't have to.
They're Velcro. I don't know what happened. He could be a stripper, sir. So, he goes to meet this guy now. Back to the beginning, 1993, January of 1993, he marries a woman named Kim Carpenter. Okay.
And this is Buzz.
This is Buzz. Now, Kim is kind of the black sheep of her family. She's, for lack of a better term, she's considered the fuck up of her family. We'll talk about her older sister and her brother, but they're both very, very successful and very overachievers, and they go out in the world and they kind of do things, and she is not. She's dating this guy. She has a couple of kids by age 20 and another one on the way. She's pregnant. It's a very tough life for her. She has odd jobs.
In Lyme, Connecticut, where it costs $300,000 to buy a house.
Absolutely, and we'll talk about their living situation in a minute here. We'll do it right now. They were the Carpenter family, Kim's family, very opposed, as you might imagine. They've raised their kids well, and now she's with this idiot. In their mind, they're like, this guy is not future-wise, this isn't the guy you want to be with. You have kids, find somebody better. So they especially got angry when they found out, the Carpenter family found out that Kim and Buzz were living in a converted tool shed behind Buzz's parents' house.
Oh, Jesus.
With her child and her pregnant self, and they're living in a converted tool shed in the backyard.
Oh, Christ.
That is as white trash as you get at that point in time. If you're living in a converted tool shed with children.
It's not ideal.
Not ideal.
No.
Right there. It's not great at all. So let's bring, so her life and his life it's a little rocky right here. Like they're trying, I guess, but they're also partying and being idiots at the same time.
Well, they're shitting in like a Home Depot bucket.
Yeah,
in a
I don't
tool
know.
Shed.
I don't know how.
I don't know if there's a bathroom.
Yeah, I don't know how hooked up it was, but
that's
not
what
ideal.
I assume.
Yeah, it's not
that's
ideal.
That's what I see. I see an orange "you can do it" bucket in the corner.
Probably, yeah. That's bad. If you have him shitting and then the kid has to shit on it too, I don't like that at all.
Oh, what a terrible situation.
That's no good. So let's talk about Kim's sister, Beth Ann Carpenter. She goes by Beth, but people have called her Beth Ann, and we'll talk about why here. She was born actually the day after the Kennedy assassination.
Oh.
She's born November 23rd, 1963. So
she
at this
definitely
moment,
didn't do it.
Positive it wasn't her. She's innocent.
Right.
We here at Small Town Murder are officially clearing Beth Ann Carpenter of any involvement in the JFK assassination.
Could have been anybody except her.
Except her. Definitely not her. So, yeah, she was born then. She is the oldest of three children. They have a brother, Richard, and the youngest is Kim, and then Beth is the oldest. And Beth is a real overachiever, big-time overachiever. She's about 30 years old at this point. They come from a good family, like I said. The father, Richard, he spent 22 years in the Navy as an engine man. So, I mean, he's in the service. He owns his own landscaping company that he runs at this point in 1993. The mother, Cynthia, Cynthia Carpenter, is a nurse practitioner. She consults with local nursing homes. They're nice, upstanding people, sort of thing. They seem to raise their kids right. Beth Ann and Kim, all of them attended the Ledyard Public Schools. There was three girls apparently in Beth's second grade class named Beth, so she had to go by Beth Ann.
Yeah.
So that's why everybody calls her Beth Ann all the time. She hates that name, but still, there it is. And in the media, everybody calls her that related to this case.
Brutal.
Beth Ann, always going to be Beth Ann. Gotta hate when that happens.
Yeah.
One of her hobbies, she liked to crochet as a kid. She would sell her crocheting projects at church fairs to raise money for the church. Yeah, she's just, she's an all-American, as typical as you can be.
Business girl right up front, too.
She's English, German, their background, nationality. She's just a very white girl.
Yeah.
She's a redhead. Beth Ann is red as they come.
Really?
Very red, very freckled, super red. Everybody thinks she's Irish, especially in the Northeast, and she's not Irish. Her nickname is Red in high school. That's what everybody calls her.
She'd rather go by that than Beth Ann?
It's better than Beth Ann, apparently. I don't think she had a choice in the matter. I think she was just red, and she's like, shit.
Anything's better than dog boner.
Yeah, no shit. At least they didn't call her that. She's an honor student all throughout high school. Yeah. She's on the track team, baseball team, swim team, works on the school newspaper and the yearbook. She is an overachiever.
Yeah.
She's one of these kids that's scheduled 24 hours a day, and she loves it.
Does everything.
She keeps everything straight. Her guidance counselor told her to go to George Washington University, so she did. She took pre-med courses there. But she's kind of stopped wanting to be a doctor after that. She doesn't apply to med school. She graduates instead, takes just kind of on a whim, takes a law school entrance exam and scores in the top 10 percentile of it. So she's very, very smart. So she decides to go to law school instead. Yeah. She goes to the University of Connecticut School of Law, and then she ends up graduating from Columbus School of Law at Catholic University in 1990. So, I mean, she's a brilliant kid. Then after that, she goes to Europe with her brother for several months. They go on like a trip to Europe after law school. And I wish I grew up like this, by the way.
That sounds amazing.
I always think, like, I didn't grow up like this at all. My family, whatever, they're fine and everything. But no one was going on a trip to Europe for several months was never. They would have been like, what are you, fucking high? Go get a job. That's what I would have said. Get a fucking job. What is wrong with you?
You want to go do that? Do this.
Yeah. Well,
and finance your way.
Yeah. Knock yourself out.
Right. Yeah. And then by the time you pay all the bills that you've got, then it's like, I've got no money to go back
anyway. Yeah. You're not going anywhere. Go. Right. That's it. And you're stuck in East Lyme for the rest of your life, and you got to be a male stripper. That's what happens. That's that guy's life, I suppose.
I'm that guy.
That's what I mean. I relate much more to that guy than I do to this lady. So I totally get that. This was a tough time for her when she gets out. She gets back from Europe. She's going around looking for a job in corporate law.
Yeah.
But this was a tough time, early 90s economically. If you remember, the economy was crashing, which is why George Bush Sr. only got one term,
right?
Because the economy went in the shitter.
And then Clinton came back and got us a surplus.
By the end of at the end of the 90s, we were doing much better. But at the beginning of the 90s, we were not doing well, and I remember that.
And it was wartime.
Yeah,
there was a lot of bad shit going on then.
Yeah, I remember I grew up in New York, and it was the town is like very heavily IBM, and IBM was laying people off. And I remember kids in school like freaking out because their parents were getting laid off, and they were like having to move. Shit was crazy. Like it was a bad time. Not quite as bad in East Lyme, probably.
Right.
But, I'm from Wappingers Falls, New York. It was a little different. So
they're probably not, unless the stock market was tanking. They're probably doing okay still.
They're probably fine still. So she ends up getting a job in the Norwich Public Defender's Office, working with an attorney named Edward O'Regan. He says about her that she was a very nice person, kind of shy, kind of bashful, that sort of thing. So nice person. She goes to do this. She passes the bar in New York, Connecticut, and in Washington, D.C.
Wow.
Yeah, she's doing great. I mean, you can't interned at the Securities Exchange Commission, too. I mean, she's really working it. She's the type of person that you're like, man, she's doing everything right, this person
So
here.
I want my daughter to do.
Yeah. O'Regan introduces Beth Ann to another lawyer named Michael Haas to wind up sharing an office space as they'll know each other more later.
Of course.
As Haas was moving into a private practice. Beth Ann said that it was her first paying job. She said she had clients, but it wasn't the best thing in the world, but she was fresh out of law school and she was just happy to be working, practicing law.
Yeah.
Having a job. Because if you get out of school and you get a job for doing the thing you went to school for, you win. That's victory.
That's what you're
worked for
living
you.
To your plan.
Yeah. How many people do you know that work in
None.
retail? I know some people that work in retail that have a degree in whatever the hell that they're not working in.
I know tons of people that have all those liberal arts degrees doing nothing.
Next time you're out to eat, ask your server how many degrees they have. I bet they have a lot.
Yeah,
That's
they got
the
a
thing.
few.
I bet they have a couple that they're not using currently. While they try to start an Etsy business.
Right.
That's what people are doing.
I make bedazzled diapers for children instead of accounting.
Because there's no jobs there.
But I account the shit out of that business.
I account everything. Now, Kim, let's talk about Kim a little bit. Kim meets Buzz Clinton, our dead fella on the road here, back in 1992. She meets him while he's exotic dancing.
Of course.
Okay, so that's right there. At this time, Kim and her daughter at the time, young daughter, were living with Beth and their parents, Richard and Cynthia, in their home.
Right.
But like I said, they got together. Kim moves out and goes to the trailer.
Okay.
But she leaves her daughter with her parents for long periods of time. She's a type like, I'll be back later, and then she doesn't come pick her up. Like, it's one of those things, which is so hard for a kid.
Yeah. Not
terrific. So what they do is Beth, since she's an attorney, and her mother, Cynthia, begin a legal action to have Kim removed as the girl's guardian.
Oh.
That's how serious it is.
Oh, boy.
She's not paying attention to her kids. She's not taking care of them. Cynthia also files a motion for a temporary custody. The girl was 2 years old. Her name is Rebecca. In October 1992, the probate court grants Cynthia temporary custody, but there's a list of, because Kim's the parent, there's a list of things. If you do all of this, you can have your kid back. And she carries out all the court-ordered steps, and so they have to give her the kid back. They're upset about this, though, because they know she's not going to stick with that. And they know it.
Right.
Absolutely. So Beth now, in November 7th, 92, she's 28 years old. She joins a law firm called the Old Saybrook Law Firm. It's a law firm of Klein and Frazier. Okay, Klein is with a C, by the way.
C.
Oh, see. They're like kind of high-powered real estate lawyers, these guys.
Gotcha.
So they're making money, and they think they're hot shit. They're like real like if you've ever seen the movie Boiler Room, that's how I picture them. Like they think they're like, our shit doesn't stink and we got money and let's
do anything.
Yeah,
money and power.
Anything. Yeah, it's one of those type of thing. That's just the vibe I get. Obviously, I don't know. Now, Klein, when Beth joins the firm, Klein is 60 years old at the time. Or I'm sorry, he is 50 years old at the time.
Okay.
He is 22 years older than Beth when she joins the firm. He's a short, paunchy, he's a mess, slouch-shouldered guy.
He's a mess.
That's what he is. He's just this little guy who makes a lot of money doing real estate law, and she's a young, attractive redhead girl, woman, well, she's a woman. She's a lawyer. She's a goddamn attorney. She's not a 12-year-old girl. But to him, he's looking at her probably like, oh my goodness, look at this.
Like a T-bone that he can afford.
Absolutely. Right. So she gets a job in November 92. By November 93, they are having an affair.
Oh boy.
They are having a huge affair. He is married. He has 4 kids.
Oh boy.
This guy, Heyman Klein is his name. Heyman.
Ugh.
Heyman Klein, which just makes me think of Heyman Lee from Serial.
Yeah.
That's all I think of now.
It's just an ugly name.
Yeah, Heyman Klein. He's the attorney here, and they begin having an affair. It's pretty clear that Klein is obsessed with her.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They also he likes his drugs too. He likes his cocaine. This guy. That's where I get the douchey thing.
Yeah.
Loves his cocaine. At one point in the relationship, he actually impregnates Beth, and she is pregnant with twins, but miscarries in the 4th month.
Jesus.
So, I mean, and he was already married with 4 children and everything else.
He was about to have 6.
Yeah, this is getting crazy here. So,
wow.
Absolutely. So, like we said, this brings us to January 93, where Buzz and Kim get married, like we talked about earlier. After the child is returned to Kim, there's more litigation.
Goodness.
They have more litigation, and Buzz and Kim threaten to move to Arizona with the kid, at which time the grandparents wouldn't really have any say in anything. They're not even in the same state. That's his parent. That's it there. So what ends up happening here, in this case, in this particular case, Buzz acts as Kim's attorney. Yeah, that's smart. No, Hi, I'm Buzz the male stripper. I'm gonna do family law now. I'm gonna practice family law.
Please state your name, Mr. Fireman.
Yeah, against a lawyer.
Right.
You know what I mean? He wins.
Really?
Buzz wins the case.
Oh my God! How humbled must a lawyer feel when a guy in a bedazzled thong kicked his ass?
You don't want to get beat in court by a stripper named Buzz. You don't. That is not okay.
Who entered the courtroom after they sounded a fire alarm and he came down a copper pole?
He needed entrance music. That's like, you can't do that.
Hilarious.
Lawyers don't need entrance music. Yeah. She's fucking mad as shit.
And he drug his balls all over their table.
Yeah, it's insane. She continues having this affair with Heyman Klein. Mm-hmm. She's pissed about this. Their whole family's mad about their arrangements. Everybody's upset, okay? Yeah. Early 1994, Beth and her brother Richard go to talk to Buzz's father.
Yeah.
They're like, will you help us break them up?
Right.
Literally, they're like, will you help us break them up? Because they're no good for each other, obviously. They're both fuck-ups.
They're living in a tool shed.
We're living in a tool shed right back there. It's your house.
But if I'm that dad, I go, yeah, but the guy that lives in a tool shed just beat you in court.
He beat you in court. Yeah, maybe he should be the lawyer.
I'm actually kind of proud of the guy.
Yeah, what do you think?
Because I am at this moment. I like him a lot.
I'm impressed with the guy anyway.
I really do. I really do like him.
So they go over there. Buzz's father doesn't agree. He says, I don't want any part of this. I don't know what you're talking about. So Beth tells this guy, who's Anson Clinton Jr., because Buzz is the third. So juniors and thirds, as we know from Crime and Sports, is dangerous.
It's terrible.
Beth says to her brother, when Buzz's father refuses to do anything, she says to her brother, "Let's go, Richard. We're not getting anywhere here. I'll take care of it." That's her answer. And
that's
they leave,
what she said?
Ominously. Yeah, just, I'll take care of it. Don't worry about it.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So they're all thinking, so she's going to
go
break them up.
Right.
Yeah, she's going to
go legally figure something out to where they have to break up.
Yeah, maybe she'll set him up with a girl and videotape it or something. Maybe it was 25 years ago. I don't know if they're doing that then, but you never. That's still always a good idea.
I don't think she has much jealousy in her. That's true. If he's a dancer and
something.
She doesn't, right?
He's going to do something to break them up. I don't know why.
Figure out what his weakness and her weakness is, and we're gonna
do this. So January 1994, she figures out how to take care of it. She goes to Heyman Klein and asks him to kill Buzz. She goes to her attorney, boss, lover, and says, "Will you kill this guy for me?" Now, according to him, Beth told Klein that her niece, little Rebecca, was being abused by Buzz, and the only way to stop is, she said, "We've tried everything. We went to court, and that didn't work. We tried to break them up. I went to the father. We did everything in the route we should go, and it's still not ceasing, and we can't get this kid away from him. We got to kill this guy. It's the only option."
She's an asshole.
I would say. Now, the girl, according to court records, by the way, later on, there's no indication that the girl's abused.
Right.
We don't know if she was or not, but there's no records of her being abused. She is developmentally delayed, but that doesn't really have anything to do with abuse.
Right.
It could. That could cause problems, but more than likely it didn't, because that was from the start. So there's no real evidence of any kind of abuse. So eventually, Heyman kind of hems and haws because he's like, yeah, I'm having sex with this young woman. I don't really, sure, yeah, I'll kill the guy. Yeah, don't worry about it.
I got you.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah, we'll talk about it next week. I got a real busy week. I got court this week. I got a lot of stuff to do, so we'll talk about it maybe.
She's becoming problematic to him anyway. She's been pregnant, and she lost it.
And he's still obsessed with her, though. He's obsessed with her.
You know he was praying every night for that miscarriage,
you know he was,
though.
He's in his 50s.
A scumbag.
And that's the thing. I'm sure he's sitting there. He's not happy. Looks at himself in the mirror, and he's a paunchy fuck. And this probably makes him feel like he's some kind of, some kind of big man, I guess.
Every day through his 40s, he's looking in the mirror going, I'm never fucking a 20-year-old ever again. And then he sees her, it happens, and he's like, I'm a king. I'm a god.
Exactly.
Right.
That pumps up his pathetic ego in this case. So eventually, he actually says, okay, I know a guy. There's a guy named Mark Deprez.
He really knows a guy.
He knows a guy. He said, Mark Deprez, who might be willing to do this. Beth said, make whatever arrangements you have to. We'll pay him whatever he needs, the whole deal. So that's what he says here. Now, whatever happened, what ends up happening is Deprez is a guy who, he is Heyman Klein's drug dealer. He's also a used car salesman.
That makes sense.
He's also a used car salesman, but he's also his coke dealer.
Yeah.
He has no record for any kind of violent crime or anything like that, but he figures...
So Klein just thinks he knows a guy. He's like, I've seen movies, guys that deal coke, they kill people all the time. I know a guy.
Pretty much it. So what he does is he says, this guy agrees, Deprez agrees to kill Buzz for $8,500. I love when we have these contract ones, the different negotiations. The one guy did it for like $500. He was going to do it in the end. First it was $5,000 down to $500.
People in Manistee ended up doing it for like meth.
They did it for
a little bit of meth.
That's pretty much what the guys did in Tonasket, Washington, too, is a little bit of meth. This guy wants actual cash. They give him $2,000 up front. Heyman Klein does. Beth doesn't talk to this guy. She doesn't know this guy. It's the dude's drug dealer. Right. It's Heyman Klein's drug dealer. A month goes by, February 1994, and it's just nothing has happened. It's kind of cooled off, and apparently the relationship between Klein and Beth is kind of cooling off also. As we'll get into, they've had some problems here, and there's a little bit of issues. So Klein calls off the hit. He calls off the hit. Beth, though, a few weeks later, returns to him, as the way he puts it, in, quote, a state of hysteria, telling him that her niece had been burned with a cigarette and locked in Kim's basement, and she asked him to contact Deprez again to carry out the killings and said she's willing to pay for it herself. She doesn't care. This guy needs to die. Holy shit. He's abusing the shit out of this girl.
Okay.
So... And that's Klein's story, we'll say, but that seems to be the accurate one. He gets back in touch with Deprez again, and now they agree on $5,000 for the murder. So the price has gone down. So the economy is down. We'll say that. The prices for service is going down a little bit here. $5,000. Of course, he's already been paid $2,500.
Right.
And out of that $5,000, they agree to give him $1,000 right then. Okay. Now the murder ends up happening on March 10th, 1994. Deprez learns about the tow truck because he's kind of we'll find out exactly how, but he's been keeping an eye on Buzz for a few weeks.
He's still been watching. He's like, just in case it comes down.
No, in February he finally agreed to the $5,000 and the $1,000, and that a month goes by, and in that month he's looking for an in on how to kill Buzz. So what he does is he finds out he's selling a tow truck, and he says, okay, fine. So what this Mark Deprez guy, listen to what he does. He brings his 15-year-old son, Chris, with him.
What the fuck?
They meet in the parking lot of a Howard Johnson's restaurant on I-95 because that looks legit. I'm bringing my kid with me. Who's afraid of someone who brings their kid with them? It's the Green River Killer thing. The prostitutes would feel comfortable with him because he would have his baby in the car sometimes, or pictures of his kids, whatever. So this Deprez is thinking. He's thinking about this whole thing. What they do is they meet in this parking lot. Buzz agrees to show him the tow truck because Deprez said he's willing to pay cash for it. And this is when Buzz wants to move to Arizona to get away from the Carpenter family.
And he needs money.
He needs this money, and this guy's paying in cash. Perfect. We can get the fuck out of here immediately. So he drives away. Buzz drives away with he's going to take him to the tow truck. Deprez and his son are following Buzz. As they exit the I-95, Deprez flashes his headlights, like pull over, like he's got a problem. The two cars pull over to the shoulder. Buzz gets out of his car and approaches Deprez's car who's got his son in it, and Deprez puts his gun out and shoots him 6 times with a .38 revolver.
The kid sitting right there.
He sees the headlights coming back in, and he sees the headlights coming down the road. So he hops back in his car quick to not make it look like he's standing out there. Then he runs him over a little bit, puts him back in the car, drives away.
Holy shit.
That's what he did. He's like, oh, let me do that, and then runs away. Okay? Now, initially, like we said, there was drug dealers, but then after that, they're like, okay, it wasn't drug dealers. This is clearly some sort of setup. Who hates him?
Yeah.
Gee, I don't know.
Only one.
Two weeks earlier, he beat Beth in court.
Yeah.
So wonder who this might
obvious.
be. Let's investigate. I mean, it could be a number of people with this guy, but this is a good place to start.
He is selling a tow truck. I mean, it could be, if there's an ad in a
trying
paper,
to rob him.
right.
Yeah,
could be anybody.
Exactly. Could be anybody, but they're like, let's just, you know what, let's take a look at the Carpenters. Let's just take a look-see and see what they're doing. So they get, also, another reason why is because it's a well-known thing that Beth Ann's father tried to strangle Buzz at one point.
Shit.
And then he was strangling him, literally like Bart Simpson, like Homer Simpson strangling Bart, until Cynthia said, "Richard, your blood pressure." And he stopped. He was like, "Yeah, you're right. I don't want to have a heart attack over this guy. This guy's going to give me a stroke."
Richard, calm down. You stop choking. Stop trying to kill that man. You're going to kill yourself.
That just so sounds like, Seinfeld's parents on Seinfeld. Just, Morty, your blood pressure. Like it's something like that would come out of that show. It's insane. So they're the initial target. The trail, they go through everything and they find out they find out a little bit about Beth and how she feels. They talk to Buzz's dad and have the "I'll take care of it" line comes out. So then they're concentrating on her. Eventually, they get down to Heyman and Deprez. At the course of the investigation, too, they learn that not only was Heyman Klein, not only was he hiring hitmen for murder plots, but he was also actively defrauding his clients. He's dealing coke on his own, and he's stealing money from trust accounts that are under his care.
Oh, what a scumbag.
Part of that money paid Deprez for a hit. So he's selling drugs and paying for hits with clients' money. Like, this is a mess. This is a fucking disaster, I swear to God. Just a complete mess. So May of 1994, 2 months after the murder, police execute a search warrant of the home of Deprez's mother, but they don't find the murder weapon. We find out why we don't find the murder weapon here shortly. Don't worry. But the murder weapon, we find out where it was.
Okay.
They don't find anything, but they're on to him. I mean, if they found this guy, that's probably a bad sign. They
this
probably
is pretty
know some
incredible
shit.
Police work, too, by the way.
They got a tip.
Yeah.
They got a tip. And this is the thing when you get with drug people, you're going to get a lot of tips because they get charges a lot, and they have sentences that are higher than they think they should have, and they're willing to tell anything to not go to jail for coke, basically.
By the way, I know a guy that murdered somebody.
Yeah, because I want to get out of jail and do more coke, so I got to do that. What ends up happening here, she quits her job with, Beth Ann quits her job with Klein. She takes another job with another law firm in January of 1995, but that's just for a few months before she moves to England in the summer of 95. She takes off. She says she was looking for a job for about 10 months unsuccessfully in the States, and she was looking in England, and she got an offer and followed it up, and boom. She goes over to England.
She is distancing herself from him real fast.
A little bit. Now, when she's in England, her visa expires in early 1997. She decides to move to Dublin, Ireland at this point because they'll let her in over there. No warrant for her is issued, none of that. She tries to take international law and taxation courses, but she can't afford it, so she works in a gym and a pub to kind of make up for it to afford the classes in the next semester.
This is a girl that passed the bar in D.C., New York, and Connecticut, and she is now in Dublin working at a bar.
Working at a bar. Well, going to law school, though. They're going to school for whatever international horseshit.
But she doesn't need to, is my point, unless she's running from something.
Well, she's got other things going on over there, though. Now, she's over there under her own name, no alias. Both countries, she's no alias. At one point, she filed a lawsuit against a drunk driver who hit her with her car as she walked home from the gym and messed her shoulder all up. Yeah. She went to the authorities there, filed a lawsuit. Like, she's not hiding over there. She's being whatever. There's a reason for that because they know she's there. And sometime during this time period, Scotland Yard contacts her through the Connecticut authorities to help for her to help in their ongoing investigation of this murder. So what ends up happening, October 1995, Deprez is arrested for the murder. He's initially uncooperative, but in December of 1995, he gives a lengthy statement, implicates Heyman, implicates Beth, everything, puts them all in there. And many of the facts that he talks about are backed up by his son, Chris, and we'll get to his statement. Now, as he was arrested, Deprez, Heyman knows writing on the wall, he is trying to take off. He is looting clients' accounts. He's stockpiling money in different bank accounts all over the country.
Yeah.
He's doing some scummy shit.
Getting ready to flee.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, December 15th, 1995, the police are literally going to arrest him, and he's gone. Poof, like a puff of smoke, like Kaiser Sose. He's out of there. So they issue a warrant for him. He flees. Now, during this whole time, he's wanted for capital felony murder. Yeah. So this is not great. No. That's death penalty shit right there.
It's the worst case you can get.
It's the worst thing you could get. So he doesn't know, though, that Scotland Yard and the Connecticut authorities have been talking to Beth Ann over in Europe. And they have, and he has been keeping in touch with her since she's been in Europe.
Oh, so they've been hearing it?
Yeah, so he talks to her. She tells them everything he's doing, this sort of thing. So it's a mess. It was Beth. She supplies a date, a time, and a phone number to a payphone in California where she's supposed to call Klein at a certain time. Exactly that. They figure it out. He picks up the phone. He's talking to her outside of a convenience store in California in February of '96, and the cops swarm up.
Yes.
And he tells her on the phone, "You set me up." That's that. He's like, shit.
Big fat pudgy fuck standing there in California in his straw hat.
His straw hat going, shit. Damn it.
You set me up.
You set me up. So Deprez goes to court. This is a crazy-ass story. Deprez goes to court. Christopher, his son, Chris, testifies with immunity because he was 15. He describes how his father stalked Buzz for weeks up to 94. He says that he sat in the passenger seat. He saw his father meet Clinton in the parking lot. He knew about the pretense of the tow truck, the whole deal. They followed, just like we said, they followed Clinton's car. Deprez flashed his headlights, the whole deal. And Chris says, this is insane, turns to his father and he said, I asked him what he was doing. He said he was going to kill him. So he tells his son that. Yeah. Son's like, what are you doing? So, I'm going to kill this guy.
I'm going to kill this guy. Don't tell your mother.
Thanks. Yeah. That's a huge don't tell your mother.
Yeah.
Don't tell your mother.
Don't tell your mother.
But he lives also, too. Chris is in his father's care. His father has full custody.
Really?
This guy has full custody. I don't know what
That's unbelievable.
I don't know what the hell the mother could have done.
What is she doing?
Good God. She must have been a goddamn disaster.
She's got a hell of a body count if this guy kills one and keeps the kid.
Yeah, absolutely. So Mark Deprez tells Buzz the reason why he got out and flashed him. He said, I'm running out of gas. And then Chris Deprez says, then he shot him. I saw sparks come out of the gun and I heard him shoot 6 times.
Holy shit.
Yeah, he
and
said,
what kind of gun?
38 revolver.
So he opened the whole thing up.
Yep, emptied it on him, close range. He said for a month before the shooting, he would drive with his father as they tried to find him at home or at work. Buzz, he said that his father had a picture of Buzz and drove around looking for him. He said, my dad was going to kill the guy. So, yeah.
And you said he got him 5 in the head and 1 in the chest.
I think it was 2 in the chest.
Okay.
I would think I was mistaken. I think it's 4 in the head, 2 in the chest,
Jesus.
and a car run over you.
Good God.
Wow. That's
of that kind of weapon, it's over.
Yeah, it's over with. That's overkill, I would definitely say. Mm-hmm. Now, what they're saying here, too, is they're thinking that Beth is the person who provided the picture. Oh. So that wrapped her right up, and because he's saying she's the one who gave me the picture. Yeah. I got the picture through Heyman, through her.
Right.
Chris testifies that they shot Buzz, went back home in Deep River, where they're from, and they smashed the gun with a hammer. And then they took the pieces, and threw them out the window as they were driving in Essex.
Little by little.
So, yeah, a little here, a little there, so no one would find it, smashed it with a hammer, which I guess is smart if you're going to do that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. In the end, Deprez ends up pleading guilty to killing Buzz, and he's sentenced to 45 years in prison.
That's pretty light.
45 years. Yeah, it's a little light. Well, he ended up giving up the other ones. That's why he ended up giving up Heyman. Now, Heyman Klein also pleads guilty in the end here. He pleads guilty to conspiracy to commit murder, and he faces a 45-year term, but his sentencing is not going to be done until after he testifies against Beth.
That's nice.
So because now they're working on a case against Beth here. But they said he was so helpful in building a case against Beth, the prosecutor in the case called him, quote, the most cooperative witness I've ever worked with. And so that's why they deferred his sentence till after he testified. Look, if he's going to be this great, we might be able to lighten this up a little bit on him.
Yeah.
So 1997, in August, they finally, in Connecticut, get an arrest warrant for Beth in Ireland. She's in Ireland,
right?
Though.
She's still gone.
Yeah, but it's a capital crime, so it carries a death penalty.
Yeah.
Now,
so Dublin won't do it, huh?
Dublin won't do it. That's the problem. They will not extradite her to a death penalty, which most European countries won't. She was in the gym when this all happened. She said she's in the gym. She said a guy came up to her and said, "Are you Beth Carpenter?" And she said yes. And then another cop in plain clothes came and took her in. She said they just took her right to jail. She said she didn't know why. I think she knew why.
I'm sure she knew.
I'm thinking she stays in.
She had a bit of an inkling.
I would imagine. What have I done illegal? Oh, yeah, that's right. I set up a murder.
That's all. Right. I've only done one thing.
I ran a red light a few days ago. I didn't think that was it. I thought this was a little heavy for that. But the murder.
Hunting me down at the gym for a red light, that's a tough one.
Yeah, I think it's probably the murder. She remained in Mountjoy prison in Ireland for 17 months. She was there while they were fighting. She said it's great over there. She praised their humanitarian approach. Apparently, they let the inmates wear their own clothing. They address and listen to inmate complaints. She said that everybody's nice to each other. The inmates are better. She says she was saying how they staged a play for charity while in jail, and the inmate actors were permitted to talk to the guests afterwards.
The guests,
non-prison people. It was for charity.
Holy shit!
So they were allowed to socialize afterwards.
I was thinking it was just like a play for the prison inmates.
Irish
and
prison
guards.
is different. Yeah. Irish prison much different.
They allow guests in.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They had a prison Christmas service there in prison that was broadcast nationwide.
What?
And Beth read a poem during the service to nationwide Irish TV.
That's crazy.
What the fuck? She was playing rugby and volleyball in there.
Unbelievable.
Even though she's only 5'3" and she's real thin, little person. Now,
not a little
person, but yeah, not a little person, not literally a little person. So they didn't want to extradite her. She's finally arrested November '97. Like I said, spends all that time there. When she gets back to Connecticut, because eventually they said, okay, fine, we will not, we won't seek the death penalty against her, and then Ireland lets her go. She comes back in. She said in an Irish prison, she never once had handcuffs on her. Wow. They never used handcuffs, and she said the second she got to York in the United States, she was taken to York in shackles and wrists and a belly chain like she's, Hannibal Lecter or something.
A real criminal.
Like a real criminal. She complains that she doesn't get enough showers there. The conditions aren't very good. And she's a lawyer, so she's going to complain and bitch and file things. She said her migraine medication.
There wasn't even a Christmas play.
I did not get to speak to a national audience through my poetry. I am not happy about that. She said you shut down in there, you show no emotion. If you're crying, they put you on suicide watch. So she's like, there's nothing you can do. They didn't give her migraine medication on time. She's seriously complaining. She says that once she leaves prison, she says, I am going to go back to jail. And I'm going to fix this shit. Right. I'm going to make this happen. So she's in jail.
The tampons are just cardboard.
Yeah. This
is so great. I love
insane.
I love that she's bitching about you orchestrated the murder of a man who now he doesn't even get to live that kind of life.
She's like, I have a bit of a migraine. Right. Like, what? So she does this. She's in there for about 6 months in the States in prison, and her lawyers are constantly petitioning to get her out. They persuade a judge to reduce her bond from $1 million to $150,000 on a condition of house arrest. So yeah, she's for like the next year.
She gets to get out.
Yeah, for like the next year, she is at home with an ankle monitor, and probation officers drive her to and from court and turn her ankle monitor back on. There is a big fluff piece about her in the paper.
My goodness,
there's a fluff piece. I was like, are you kidding me? She gives a big interview. Listen to this. This is an exact piece of the article. I'm going to read you 2 paragraphs of the article. You tell me what this paints. Mm-hmm. If you think this paints a murderer, or I don't know, don't have an opinion maybe. Be a journalist and don't be objective. Yeah. Or take this lady's side. Unreal. Okay. This sounds like her lawyer wrote it. All right. Here we go. In the fluff piece here. Carpenter was sitting in the living room of the modest ranch house where she grew up, now a stone's throw from the entrance of the Manishtucket Pequot Museum, the Foxwoods Resort Casino, and its towering hotels that were built on the dunes and trails over which Carpenter and her friends used to ride horses and bicycles as children. Now Carpenter can no more visit that museum or casino than set foot on the grass outside her own door. Her right ankle is banded with an electronic monitoring bracelet that will sound an alarm if she steps outside the walls of the home she shares with her parents, sister, and her sister's 4 children aged 4 to 11. Another beloved family member is Rennie, the deathly sick puppy she nursed back to health. What? Now he's her constant companion.
What?
Are you fucking kidding me?
How soggy is that dude's lap?
Oh my God!
How could you write that?
What are you? The deathly sick puppy she nursed, but she killed a guy. What are we talking about? She goddamn killed a guy. Now she's living in a house with her sister and kids. One of the kids, by the way, whose father she killed.
Wow.
Unbelievable. And this is all fine. And they're having a fluff piece, not like, hey, how do you feel looking at that kid whose goddamn father you're on trial for murder?
How does that feel every morning when you wake up and that kid's brushing his teeth?
Unbelievable. Yeah, so she says she wants to just get out of prison. She wants to make everything work in prison, make it more like the Irish system, whatever. Her sister Kim here is working at McDonald's.
Yeah.
So she's an attorney. Kim's working at McDonald's. Her brother Richard is the CEO of a company in Boston.
Wow.
So 2 kids. He's the only one who got it completely right, but at least 2 of them got like education and jobs and careers right.
Yeah.
Now, at the trial,
she lives Beth lives the life that you would expect Kim to have.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like
it's
somebody that's downtrodden with 4 children, that's working a tough job, trying to make it in society. You figure that person kills people.
That's the one. Yeah, no, that's why I said in the beginning you thought she was the one, right? You thought she killed Buzz, probably, right? Yeah.
Unbelievable.
I might have set it up that way, but yeah, that's right. So 2002, finally the trial.
Okay.
Finally. We meet, by the way, Deloyd D. Clinton, by the way. D. Clinton rules. That is Buzz's mom.
Really?
She's awesome.
And it's D-E-E, isn't it?
It's D. D is her nickname, D.
Okay.
But
I got you.
Deloyd is her first name.
Gotcha.
Deloyd, D-A-L-O-Y-D.
Okay.
Deloyd Clinton. She's become like a big, homicide. She's like a victim's advocate, basically. She attends every one of the court hearings.
Yeah.
She wears the same dress. She wears a midnight blue dress that she wore to her son's funeral.
Oh, that's nice.
She's like, this is the dress. Prosecution, so she's at every day of this trial. Prosecution is obviously saying that Beth Ann wanted Buzz out of the way because they were going to move out of state and the kid and all that. Heyman Klein testifies against her that due to his obsession with the young, attractive woman, that he said he would have done anything for her, and it was just this obsession that he couldn't help himself but do anything under her spell.
What does she have?
The defense, listen to this defense. The defense argued that Beth was actually under Klein's spell. She said that Beth was under Klein's spell. He was a domineering and dominating lover that psychologically controlled him. She said, quote, I didn't feel right when I wasn't with him. He sort of validated me and made me feel whole. She said that on the stand, but the jury's looking at her and looking at him and going, that guy's making you fuck me? Are you kidding me? Are you serious? That guy...
He's a disaster.
He hasn't seen his dick in 20 years.
Right.
He's not psychologically having a spell over anybody.
Right.
Especially it would be possible, but not someone with so much... I can't see someone with so much drive and personal force.
Right.
If she wants someone dead, she will go arrange death.
Yeah.
She's not going to be like, I can't stop. Like, I don't see that happening.
And, she may have at some point been so good in manipulating at what she was doing with him that he may have assumed. Maybe he thought he was controlling her for a second, and then he realized after all of it was done that, no. She definitely had me under spell.
Definitely. Yeah. So she gets on the stand. She said that she admitted confiding in Klein that she was afraid for her niece and that she wasn't being properly cared for, but she never wanted Buzz to kill him. She didn't want that. She didn't want Buzz to take... She didn't want them to kill Buzz. She didn't want anybody to kill Buzz. She just didn't want Buzz to take the kid across the country. She denied knowing anything about Deprez or anything like that. The defense tried to introduce police reports that raised allegations against Buzz with the abuse, but that really didn't go anywhere. And the prosecutor, Kevin Kane, said that it amounted to putting the victim on trial, and so that really didn't work too well with that. They tried to say that he was a drug trafficker and threatens people with murder and all that kind of thing, and there wasn't really any evidence to that. Might have been true, but there wasn't really any evidence to that. The theory of the defense here is that Heyman wanted to impress Beth, so he set the whole thing up on his own. She knew nothing about it. He was just like, you know what will impress her? If I kill that guy she hates, that'll do it. Because
I've been asking her. I want to get her something real nice.
Yeah,
she's just been down lately.
About
she's been
4
so
shots
sad.
to the dome piece. That'll do it. Yeah, that's it. Unreal. She testifies on direct examination that she continued the affair following the murder because she felt completely emotionally dependent on him. Just the whole thing. She also said that at one time she tried to leave Klein, but she couldn't break away. She said it would last 3 or 4 weeks at a time. She said she changed the locks on her house and her phone number and everything else, but Klein would come back or he'd call and she'd always answer the door. Ugh. She couldn't say no to him. She'd always take him back. On cross-examination, she that was a little different. She said that she made no attempt, because they made a big deal out of this, she made no attempt to hide the affair from Klein's family, even flaunting it in front of his children. She's trying to stir the pot. She wants to screw up his family because she wants him. I mean, that's fine. I don't know what people's interpersonal workings are here. This whole thing, she said that she called his home, went to a restaurant where he was dining with his family to tell him that she miscarried the twins.
She went there or called there?
Went there.
Oh, my God. She walked right up to the table?
He's with the wife and kids at Red Lobster. They just put out the Cheddar Bay biscuits. I'm going to go tell him about the miscarried twins. Met him at a local commuter park where they had a big heated discussion that lasted for an hour as he was leaving with his family on a vacation. Appeared on the doorstep of his residence when she argued with him in front of his children and followed him on a family vacation to Key West.
And
That's fucking sick.
We're supposed to assume that this woman is being controlled by him?
She's
a woman
following.
doesn't. She's flaunting her relationship. What does that even mean? Does she walk like at Christmas? She comes to the house and jerks him off in front of the kids.
She shows up at Red Lobster and said, "Hey, I just miscarried our twins." I think in front of the family. That's exactly
crazy.
What it means. It's insane.
And she followed him to Key West.
She followed him to Key West.
What the fuck?
Yeah. Her attorney wants to bring in expert witnesses to talk about dependent personality disorders, but the judge talked to him outside. They had him talk outside the presence of the jury. The judge ruled that this was not scientifically valid, some sort of dependent personality disorder. She doesn't hear voices or see visions.
Right.
That's not a thing. So they said,
she's just an asshole.
Yeah, you're an asshole. You're an obsessive asshole. Right. That's your scientific term. Obsessive asshole. There, boom, stamp right on your forehead. So they said it couldn't be used as a defense, so it does not take the jury long to convict her of capital murder and conspiracy to commit murder.
Wow.
All sorts of murder. Dee Clinton here, the mom,
I love her.
Yelled to her lawyer as he left. As he left the courtroom, she yelled, "Bye, sunshine," to her. She just strutted herself out there. Told reporters that any of the allegations against her son of abuse are nothing but, quote, poppycock. I love this lady. Wow. And the lawyer said, "Hey, we weren't trying to slander the guy. We were just trying to correct the record. And we weren't, that he's such a law-abiding, devoted family man." Wow. At this point, Rebecca Carpenter, who's the alleged abused kid back in the day here, she's 12 years old, and she lives with the Carpenter parents, Richard and Cynthia, and only sees her mother, Kim, on some Saturdays. So that's where that has happened here.
Poor kid.
Yeah. So we get to sentencing. For Klein first, and then we'll get to sentencing for Beth. With good behavior, Klein could be free in as little as 10 years.
Wow.
As little as 10 years. The mother, Dee Clinton, is pissed.
I'm sure.
Dee Clinton said, quote, "This was a backroom deal struck by the lawyers to help out one of their own. 45 years is what he agreed to in a plea. That's the very least he should have gotten for killing my boy." Yeah,
wow.
That's right. So he said he was sorry. He apologized in court. He said his heart went out to the Clintons. He asked for leniency. He said, quote, "I deserve to be punished. I am being punished. I'd give my life if I could. There's no way for me to express how sorry I feel." He's not on coke now, so he's a little calmer.
Reality's just like staring him in the face right now. He's really, I fucked up.
Yeah,
listen, guys.
That's, come on. In court, Dee Clinton spoke out, yelled, and said that she hopes Beth burns in hell or sees the fires of hell when she died in prison. She said, quote, "I told my children their brother was tried, convicted, and executed by people that decided they had the right. They decided that Buzz did not have the right to life, that the death penalty was appropriate for him." Oh. She's trying to say, what about these people? Yeah. Cynthia Carpenter, the matriarch of the Carpenter family, said, quote, "No one should have to die like as Buzz did. I empathize with the family, but Beth is not guilty. This is a terrible injustice. I pray that Mr. Klein will come forward with the truth and Beth will come home where she belongs." And we get to her sentencing. The judge here says to her during sentencing, and this, you don't want to hear this when you're getting sentenced, quote, "Having been convicted of contract murder, I have no difficulty imposing this sentence. Miss Carpenter, you among all people involved, it was you who could have stopped this insane notion that killing Buzz Clinton would solve the problems concerning Rebecca." And he gives her life without the possibility of parole.
Wowza.
She is fucked. She is away. Now, 2009, Mark Deprez starts recanting his confession and now is trying to pin it on his 15-year-old son, who was 15 at the time.
What?
He's saying that Chris did it. Their lawyers got some tape from the Dr. Laura radio show, that lunatic, fucking asshole she is, got a tape of somebody saying they were Chris and confessing to the crime, but it wasn't Chris. Right. Like, they played the voices, and it's not even close. Chris,
I guess, the Phil Hendry show?
Yeah, I guess Chris has a really deep voice, and somebody called just to say, "I'm Chris, and I did it. I shot him. Wasn't my dad." They literally tried to do that.
Wow.
June 2009, Dee Clinton dies. So that's a shame. She, didn't get to see the whole thing play out. Well, I didn't get to see Beth die in prison, I guess.
Yeah.
2009, this case appeared on Snapped.
Really?
The show Snapped on TV.
Yeah.
I never saw the show.
It's
I didn't
a
know
great
anything
show.
about it. But it appeared there 2009. I bet they didn't do as good a job as we did, though.
I'm sure they didn't.
They didn't. Now, she appeals this, obviously, because she's a lawyer, and she's going to appeal life without the possibility of parole. She says that they didn't let her they didn't let her present her insanity defense. She says that the other guys, Deprez and Klein, were, inclined to lie. They were drug addicts and all that sort of thing. They said that the state was well aware that Klein, quote, he had an obsessive and deviant sexual interest in Ms. Carpenter and was a narcotics addict and had engaged in acts of theft involving funds belonging to his former law clients. So they're trying to say, obviously, she didn't do it.
Right.
That sort of thing. Other claims, they said that she claims ineffective assistance of counsel, says that her attorneys provided her with false assurances throughout the case and failed to engage in plea negotiations with the state like she would have taken a plea.
Right.
Please. The whole deal. Her lawyer said that she had a best interest of his client in mind. He was trying his best. She said that she was using several medications that interfered with her ability to testify accurately and lucidly.
Okay.
She's pulling everything out of her ass. She said that the defense failed to prepare her for the cross-examination. So they said, I wasn't prepared because ineffective assistance of counsel. They should have prepared me better rather than I was.
You sat in an Irish prison for 17 months.
Thought it was great.
Right.
And also, too, she says there should have been a change of venue and jury sequester and blah, 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 blah. So that gets denied in the first time. 2010, she has a habeas appeal. She tries to pull the same shit, same grounds. She's trying to get a new trial. They tell her to, go kick dirt.
Yeah.
No, thank you there. 2015.
Say it walking.
Yeah, tell your story walking, honey. 2015, she tries to get a new trial again, and she is another failure. A Rockville Superior Court judge rejected her arguments and said that you can do that.
They're all as good at law as Buzz is.
That's right.
They're just beating her up.
Kicking her ass. 2017, a court, this is just recently, this is March of 2017, a court rejects her appeal and her conviction, obviously. It's a 3-judge appellate deal here. This is like the last state thing you go to. 3-judge appellate court disagreed with her argument that said her trial lawyers were, idiots, and for not securing a plea deal and not having an expert witness examine her before trial.
So good.
She intends to appeal the ruling of the Connecticut Supreme Court, obviously, and try to go to the Supreme Court. Her lawyer says, quote, the result is disappointing. We remain hopeful that justice will in the end be done. Beth Carpenter does not belong behind bars.
Okay.
So right now, her nieces live together and hang out together here. Brianna, the one she was pregnant with, and Rebecca, the young girl who was the alleged abusee.
Right.
There's a story where a journalist talks to both of them at the same time and gets their opinions on the whole thing. And they talk about seeing the show Snapped and seeing the reenactment and all that sort of thing.
That would be brutal.
Yeah, totally. Apparently, that's what they said. It was really
imagine.
brutal. Like they didn't know anything about it until they heard the name and they were like, "Oh, that's our dad."
Oh,
what the
Jesus.
fuck? That's here. Oh, that town is here. Oh no, Brianna, the Buzz's actual daughter, thinks that Beth is guilty, and Rebecca says that she's innocent. She says she thinks she's innocent, and she thinks they set her up.
I don't know. How could she think innocent?
I think it's one of those things. She was old enough to remember having her around, and she liked her, and she's her aunt. And she's like, she's my aunt. She didn't kill my dad. Like, this is crazy. She believes her. I mean, she believes her.
Yeah.
That's what it is. And if when you're a kid, you believe people you look up to, and you might stick with that through your years here. Now, Buzz Anson Clinton III here, or Anson Clinton III, Buzz, is buried in the Duck River Cemetery in Old Lyme, Connecticut. It's got a little small headstone. It looked like it needed some work, too. Like, someone needed to edge it with a weed whacker or something in the picture. But, yep, he's there, and that's her, and she's in prison forever.
Wow.
These appeals don't seem to be going anywhere at all, and she's down to trying to go to the Supreme Court with this bad boy. It's over for her. Klein will be out within the next 5 years, probably. And I don't think Deprez is going to get out anytime soon. But that's East Lyme, Connecticut.
My goodness.
That is a hell of a twisted tale.
Jesus.
If you enjoyed that tale, please get on iTunes. You can go ahead and give us 5 stars. Tell us your favorite color. Tell us your favorite type of sandwich. We don't care. Just do it. It helps us with the business end. I like roast beef and turkey.
Is that yours?
Yeah, I think so. Roast beef, turkey. No, then we're going to get into the Italian lunch meats, and let's not go there. I could talk all night about prosciutto, and we don't need to do that. We don't need to talk about capicola for the next 4 hours. Anyway, if you if an iTunes review just isn't enough for you, your heart is swelling with joy from this episode. It should be. Then you can get on patreon.com/crimeinsports, and you can leave us a donation or go to PayPal and use our crimeinsports@gmail.com address there. We have some amazing people here, Jimmy, that have done that just this week. And also, too, before we get to that, you can follow us on social media at MurderSmall on Twitter, Facebook.com/SmallTownPod. Who are our fine donators and gift givers and just amazing people that we love so much and couldn't do this without you. And there'd be no point in doing it without you.
Yeah, that's the truth. You guys are what make this show go. So thank you guys so much. This week we got some mail from Kirk Withrow, Brianna. Oh,
Brianna Rose. Brianna Rose.
Brianna, she made us she knitted some things, or what do they call this? Embroidered? What do they call that? I don't know. She did some crafting.
Oh, needlepoint type thing.
Needlework.
It's the needle. I don't know what it is, but they're
crochet.
Awesome.
Is that crochet?
That's not crochet. I don't think, but they're awesome. They're how is it you've come to arrive here?
Yeah, they're all from Crime and Sports.
Crime and Sports
they're
references
amazing.
and. Unbelievable. Thank you so
beautiful.
much. They're so cool.
Thank you, Brianna. And then Monica Robertson sent us a big package for Frankie, the Crime and Sports dog. So
yes,
that's awesome,
Frankie thanks you, and we'll take a picture of Frankie wearing it, and we'll post it on Frankie, the Crime and Sports dog Instagram, so you can find her there.
Heather Budd sent us a little bit more dough over on
thank you, Heather. God,
not
guys.
On Patreon, the other one. On
PayPal.
PayPal.
You guys are so awesome.
That?
You keep us going. You really do. You make this...
and it doesn't have to be a lot. It's these little ones. It seems like it really drives the engine.
Everything helps. It really does. We can't thank you enough.
Jacqueline Rodriguez, Natalie Demian, or Damien? Demian. It's got to be Demian.
I think so.
Marinda Lynch, Loughton Melmoth, Uptid's Pledge.
Wow, thank you.
Annette Wright, Alex Herman, Natalie Oliver, Christine Palmer, Dan Smith, Alexandra Brown, Michael Morris, BJ Spence, Rachel Ten, Bruggencat. That's a cool one.
That's a cool name.
Kate.
I like that.
I don't know. Marielle Tetreau, Jenny Langist, and Jonathan Edwards. Thank you guys so much for
we can't thank you enough.
You guys are really pushing this thing along.
Certainly, definitely not required, but it's sure as shit appreciated more than we could tell you guys. Honestly, thank you so much. And Jimmy, where can they get a hold of you on social media if they were so inclined?
At Whisman Sucks, WHISMAN Sucks on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat. Interact and play along, guys. It's amazing. I love hearing from you guys.
And I am at Jimmy P is funny. If you want to do that, copy and paste my last name from the show description. If you want to find me on other forms of social media, don't be a hero. You will fuck up the spelling. Guys, it's been so much fun. We love being here. We love this crazy-ass episode.
Yeah.
We've had a blast. It's been our pleasure. We'll see you next week, guys.
Bye!